Most people think it costs thousands of dollars to have a backyard pond when that's just simply not true. While that is the dream and goal one day, not everyone can afford a massive pond. But the thing is, you don't really need a massive budget to have a backyard pond. There's so many different ways that you can make them for very cheap. So today I'm going to show you guys exactly how I built my small backyard pond, and it was super cheap and easy. So like I said, there's a ton of different ways you can make a pond for cheap, but this option is probably one of the most cost effective. This is actually a dog pool off Amazon. I had one before that was about 240 gallons. Had it set up for about 3 years and everything was great, but the fish finally outgrew it, so I upgraded to this 500 gallon one. As far as cost goes, this thing was only like 75 bucks on Amazon, and these things are surprisingly durable. Like I said, I had one set up for 3 years in the Arizona sun. Next thing you're gonna need is some filters, some pumps, and of course some waterfall spillways. You can get all three of these things on Amazon, and I'm actually gonna link most of the products down below, but you can also build your own pond filtration, which most of the time works better than the stuff you can buy. I also have a video on that if you guys want to check that out as well. As far as pumps go, they're honestly not too expensive. You can expect anywhere from like 50 to maybe 150 bucks for a really good one. And you really only need 1 to 2 good pumps depending on the size of your pond. Once you have all the equipment you need, you can finally start building the pond, and I'll have a full equipment breakdown down in the description below, and like I said, I'll tag most of the products as well. Then from there, it's all about getting creative. I don't like the way the pool looks, so I like to surround it with rocks. This helps it give more of a natural pond look. I also think the rocks kind of help support the pool and make it last even longer, keeping it out of the sun and just supporting the weight of the water. But of course, the main reason is just so that it looks more natural and more like an actual pond rather than just a pool filled with water and some fish in it. Once you have all your pumps hooked up and your waterfall spillways running, you can leave them of course, but I like to build little waterfalls underneath. Again, it just makes it look more natural and less like something you just threw together. It is a budget pond and you do want it to look as good as possible. I think building waterfalls instead of just having your spillway is a really good idea. Of course, it's all personal preference. Whatever you prefer is what you should do. Luckily, I had all this flagstone laying around my yard, so it added $0 to the budget. So if you have stuff like this laying around, why not? Another thing that not only helps your pond look more natural and just more aesthetically pleasing, but also helps the water quality is live plants. As you can see, I have some in my filter spillway. That's basically a mini bog filter. I also have some just sitting in the pond. This is going to help suck up a lot of the nitrates, basically cleaning out all the fish waste and making it not toxic for your fish. So if you're thinking about building a pond, I'd definitely add live plants to it. When it comes to fish selection for your pond, of course the size of it matters. So if you're going to do something like mine around 500 gallons, you can get away with getting koi, goldfish, stuff like that. Of course, eventually full-size koi would have to be moved into an even larger pond, so that is of course my plan. With the pond this size, I only have about 4 to 5 juvenile koi, and honestly, it's perfect for them. But koi fish can definitely get expensive, so if you want to save money, I recommend getting some of the feeder goldfish at PetSmart. All of my large goldfish started out as tiny little feeder fish, and over the years they've grown massively, and they're super healthy fish. They're just as fun as having koi fish, and they come in all different colors, plus they're extremely cheap. Now let's talk about maintenance. Over time, if you don't have the right pumps, the right filters, it'll start to show in your water quality. I was still using all the old stuff from the smaller pond, and over time it just wasn't able to keep up. And the water was still safe for the fish, but there was free-flowing particles, and it was just much more dirty than it should be. This is when I finally decided to build my DIY filter. This thing was the best decision I ever made. My old one worked for the old pond, but like I said, it just couldn't keep up. This new one is much bigger, it has more media, and it's just going to catch a ton more debris. A good rule of thumb is that you want your pond water to turn over 1 to 3 times per hour. So if you have a 500 gallon pond, you want about 1,000 to a 1,500 gallon per hour pump. And of course, the stronger the better. The one I have hooked up to my DIY filter is 3,500 gallons per hour. This just basically means the pump is going to suck up and filter 3,500 gallons of water per hour. So if your pond's only 500 gallons, that's going to turn over the entire volume of your pond 7 times per hour. A pump like that, connected to a really good filter, that's going to keep your water crystal clear. The thing to note is my canister filter has a UV light in it, and I'd highly recommend that for any outdoor pond. What the UV light is going to do is going to kill any free-flowing algae that's in the water column. The main reason people get green pond water is because there's a lot of free-flowing algae inside the water column. I wouldn't necessarily rely on a canister filter as your main source of filtration, but since it has a UV light in it, I definitely recommend grabbing one. They're pretty cheap on Amazon. So let's do a cost breakdown on my small backyard pond. Like I said, the pool part was 75 bucks on Amazon. My canister filter was 60. Let's just say about 150 bucks for pump. Spillway was about 20-30 bucks. And those are pretty much the necessities, bringing my total to about $315. And that is like extremely cheap to build any sort of backyard pond. I didn't account for the fish prices or any of the extras. Let's just say with fish, all the plants, everything else, the past 3 years, I've probably max only spent about $1,000 on this pond. And even that, I think, is pushing it a little bit. So my pond is truly living proof that you do not need a massive budget or a massive space to have a koi pond or any sort of backyard pond. There's patio ponds, container ponds, pool ponds, so many different ways that you can have a nice pond that you can enjoy in your backyard without spending a ton of money or even digging into the ground. around. If you guys are interested in watching the full pond build video, that is on my channel, as well as the filter builds and a ton of other cool stuff. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like and don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date on this pond and all my future projects.